Moving on, as we have learned that the new age organization is exposed to huge technological growth, rapid transformations that are happening in the external environment, so much of volatility in the market conditions, huge changes in the expectations of the people working within the organization related to the kind of work that they are doing, the kind of products and services that can be innovated in the present time, the kind of turbulence that the people are seeing not just at the economic front but also at the social and personal level, that the people are facing certain kind of global war situations, the climate conditions. Moreover, the depletion of natural resources is a constant trigger for the people all around the world. In addition to that, certain kind of economic fluctuations, all these are certain stressful events that are happening around the world. Now amid this, the organizations have to sustain the competition and also provide the competitive edge. To give all of that, an organization have to have the right culture, because you can only nurture creativity when you can play with the ideas and can be innovative in your solutions only when you have a stress-free environment. And to address all of that, an organization has a bigger responsibility to create that ecosystem in which their employees can prosper, not just creatively but also as individuals. So, understanding the value of the right virtues and balancing them with the policies and practices is a bigger responsibility on the new age organizations, and the contemporary managers must work towards these elements of developing good values among their organization members, so that they can create a positive work culture that will not just only lead to synergic outcomes but also lead to some sustainable practices, and it will create a legacy of goodness that will be passed on from one to another generation of employees. So it is a responsibility of organizations to respond responsibly in this direction, and for that purpose certain values has to be fostered so that a great work culture could be developed that can promote creativity and innovation at work. The first of the virtue that we will reflect on is psychological safety. Now, the new age organizations are more exposed to the turbulent times. We understand that there are so many uncertain events that are happening around the world, economically, socially, personally. So around this kind of situation in organization, people must feel free to learn from their mistakes, to commit mistakes, and also not to be judged. People are battling with different issues in their personal spaces, which they may do not explicitly share with everybody at work, but they are required to show the best of their abilities and capabilities. So despite of a person being skillful and having the best of their abilities, sometimes because of these kind of challenges that the person is facing internally, is not able to communicate and interact. And mostly because in the organizations, the rigid work cultures, the tendency to accept the mistakes and the flaws is not very much appreciated in the past. So we could say that new age organizations must ensure a comfortable work environment. So this concept was developed by a Harvard Business School Professor Amy Edmondson in 1999. She promoted this concept and developed on this through her research work, wherein she highlighted the fact that a kind of a system should be created in an organization where no individual should be punished or humiliated just because of the reason that the person is wrong or person is committing a mistake, or maybe his idea is not as intellectual as anyone else's idea on the table. So it's basically about creating a kind of environment wherein the team members, when they are practicing a participative decision making, they must give a safe space for these people to speak up their ideas. And because of this kind of rigidity and because of the fear of being humiliated or being judged, many people do not speak up their creative ideas that may have really served the need of the hour for the organizations. So it is must for the new age organizations to ensure that they develop a psychological safe work environment to provide a positive work culture that will help them to develop certain synergies between the teams and across the teams. So, psychological safety is nothing but a kind of a belief that nurtures an environment where people are encouraged to express their ideas without any fear of personal judgment or stepping on toes. Such an environment will not only facilitate the feedback system in an organization, but it will also open gateways for the constructive discussion and a good relationship between the managers at different levels in a management hierarchy. Moreover, in this kind of environment wherein people are feeling safe to express, it will be easier for the organizations to develop a better system of change and acceptance of the change because of this psychological safe concept. Moreover, the impact of the psychological safety will extend not only to the policy making and the participative decision making, but will also foster a great culture for the times to come, and the organization will become more agile in adapting to the changing environment and circumstances. Let us understand that how the psychological safety relates to the performance standard. Now, being a psychological safe organization does not mean that they have to compromise on their productivity standards. The organization has to set some clear standard and the work objectives so that the task benchmarks could be set, and the organizational people must know that they have to constantly make improvements in their products and services, and they have to bring on the table the best of the ideas. So creating a safe ecosystem to express does not compromises on the productivity and the performance standards. Let us look at this combination also with a continuum of 2 by 2 which is related to psychological safety and performance standards. Let us say if the organization is low on setting the performance standards and also low on creating a kind of environment which is less psychologically safe, what kind of an organization will it be? Well, we could say that organization will be in an apathic zone wherein the people will show up to their work more distracted. They will not be very much focused because the organization standards are also not very much intact. Moreover, they do not have a kind of an environment wherein they could be freely expressing that how they feel, what they feel. If they find something wrong, they will not be feeling safer to express that because they may have a fear of losing a job. So all of these kinds of situations will only say that that organization will face a more apathic atmosphere wherein not even the work standards exist, and the people who are also can contribute to make it change cannot speak up because of the fear of losing a job or developing certain negative grudges between the senior people or the policy makers. So we could say this is going to be a very undesirable situation for an organization to consider that the standards and the environment both are negative in relationship. Next, moving on to the next zone wherein the organization has set high standards. So herein we could say that the organization will have expectations from the employees to perform better, but the employees will be reluctant to share their ideas and express their disagreement over any policy or any of the objective which has been set or any task which is delegated to them. Let us say, these days we could see some target concepts wherein the employer just pass on certain targets to the employees that this number you have to achieve by the end of this month. Now, because of this, there's a huge amount of a stress which is being created, and the quality of the outcome is not being the target of the person who is performing, and he is more focused on the quantitative attainment of that number. So, this kind of expectation from the organization, if it is not matched with the creativity or the requirement of the task to be performed, it will be difficult in a psychological unsafe environment to express. So the people will be more reluctant. So despite of having better ideas or better suggestion, just because the environment is not safe enough, they will feel reluctant to share and express what they are feeling. So we could say that people will not be asking for help because they will feel that their self-respect is at risk. Work in such kind of an organization. So we could say that that will be an anxiety zone for the people working in an organization. Let us move to the comfort zone. Now, what this comfort zone talks about, wherein the psychological safety is very high in an organization, but the work standards are low. Of course, when you see that the parameters of the performance is not very strong and you feel very safe to speak with your senior members, or let us say you have access to the policy makers and you can also have a good communication rapport with them, you can interact with them easily. So the organizational expectation is not there. However, they have also created a very comfortable environment for the employees. So obviously the way in which the organizational employees will be working will be in a more comfort zone. So moving out of a comfort zone, we could say that the success lies outside the comfort zone. So the work standards are very, very important. When people are working in a comfort environment, and when organizational employees and employers are working in a partnership, and we could say as a equal member of an organization wherein their rights are being protected, where a good culture is being promoted. At the same time, work standards also has to be established so that the right direction and right guidance will also be provided to the employees. So on the organizational side, we could say this could be a failure if the environment in the culture is strong, but at the same time the task standards are not specified and not of that bench to address the need of the customers or the stakeholders at large. Then we move on to the ideal zone, that is the learning zone. Now, learning zone is a zone wherein the organizations are also learning with the evolving needs and concerns and demands of the stakeholders. Moreover, the employees are also making best of their efforts and sharing and expressing freely. Now, this can only happen when the organization has also clarity related to the vision of the organization. In setting objectives, they are clear and they are setting certain good standard objectives for their employees to perform. So they are setting high expectations, but at the same time, the organizational employees are also feeling safe to express that how they feel about certain goal setting, how they feel about a certain policy. Moreover, they are not into any fear of being judged if they express their opinion. They are free to discuss, and from this certain kind of discussion which is open and without any fear, we could say some constructive output can be expected. So certain good expectations is very important for improving the work standard, but at the same time some safe environment will be helpful for creativity and good decision making. So we could say that the learning zone is the ideal zone wherein the organization and its people are evolving over a period of time by admitting their mistakes, accepting their mistakes, overcoming failures, and working together synergically for the purpose of organizational growth at large. Some other virtues which are very important, especially in the turbulent time, we understand that the organizations are exposed to some unprecedented scenarios and events. Recently, we have witnessed how workplaces have resumed working during the pandemic. We have seen that how the unprecedented and volatile rapid market volatility has affected the investment decisions of the people. So all of these conditions, we could say, have created anxiety, fear, insecurity among the people in an organization. So if the management in an organization tries to foster certain good practices such as practices of hope, wherein a sense of energy towards the goals in a proactive manner, some optimism can be promoted in the way the managers addresses their employees. Despite of the failure, despite of the mistakes, the organization must adopt certain practices of a positive work culture wherein overcoming failure should be promoted instead of not committing failure philosophy, because humans are prone to error. So organizations also have to reciprocate understanding towards this, and such kind of positive behaviors must be promoted so that the individuals at their own level should also try to bounce back by developing these positive virtues. So at the end, we could say that when an individual is suffering from some personal fear and personal anxiety, or we could say some kind of insecurity, so organizations at large also understand that this is a common concern for everybody, not just only for the businesses and the firms to grow and prosper in the current time and to sustain the competition, but at the same time for their employees also and for the people also. So this trust could be built, they can stay relevant to the stakeholders when they communicate, when they interact positively with their people, and even if they fail, even if some of the idea is not very successful, even if there is unpredictability between the target and the outcome, this discrepancy should be addressed in a positive manner. So these positive virtues will not only help people to become resilient and to face the adversity and the challenges that they are facing at work and at their personal front, and all these positive virtues will only help organizations to engage their people better and to create a positive work environment. We have seen that in the current age organizations, the technology has taken over the role of controlling and surveillance and monitoring the performances. We could see that the basic HR related functions related to hiring of a candidate, their development, their training needs. All of this can be performed with the help of technology. So the role of a manager in a new age organizations has shifted from a supervisory role to a counselor role. The organizational people and the policy makers and the decision makers or the top level managers must ensure that an empathic work culture should be promoted. Empathy is just not only understanding the other person's perspective, but it also helps them to guide and counsel them in times of adversity, in times when they are feeling challenged, in times when they are feeling blocked and they could not be more creative at that time. One positive word, one empathic word, one empathic gesture will be very, very helpful to help them to revive and come back and face that challenge. These positive behaviors will be life-saving strategies for organizations in the times to come. Empathy could be of three kinds. One is effective empathy, wherein there is an ability to respond to the other person's emotions appropriately. A somatic empathy is when the person is able to feel the pain of the other person, while cognitive empathy is where the person is able to understand someone else's situation. Being in the shoe of the other person is the essence of empathic behaviors. So when managers, when the top level people, when the people who are hiring employees understand the perspective of the employees from their viewpoint, it will only enhance their way to look at the problem and give them an idea of the bigger picture, wherein they can devise better policies, where they can address the changing expectations of employees regarding their career development, regarding their engagement at work, regarding their productivity concerns, and also the way in which they are going to adapt to the work culture. So in the times when the technology has taken over many of the mechanical and the technical operations in an organization, the role of managers have to incline towards more empathic and more humanistic behaviors, wherein they can develop and foster some positive values into the organization by not just only promoting these behaviors but also demonstrating these behaviors for motivating and counseling people at large. So let us reflect upon certain of the managerial traits that can help to address the concerns of the VUCA framework. So we understand that VUCA talks about volatility in the environment, the market conditions, the economic scenarios, the geopolitical relationships are all volatile. They are rapidly changing. They are so frequently unpredictable. It is very difficult for managers to decide strategies and set objectives in this kind of volatility. So we could say the better the vision of a manager is, the better it is going to have a clarity on terms of setting objectives and defining goals for an organization. So to address the characteristics of VUCA framework, wherein the environmental conditions are so rapidly frequently changing, there are certain managerial traits that can be suggested that help to overcome these VUCA challenges. First of the parameter of VUCA framework was volatility, that talks about the rapid frequent changes happening in the market conditions. The economic conditions of the world economy, we could say, is constantly changing. So the changes which are happening, not just only economic conditions but also in terms of the social, political relationships. So this all helps an organization to get an idea that the decision making is going to be tough. And amid all of this, the trait which the managers need to develop is, the better they have a clarity, the better they have the far-sightedness, the better they are able to set goals. So vision is going to help managers to set goals with the clarity in the times to come. So when we see that there is so much of the rapid changes happening, of course the decision making cannot be certain. And to an extent, a manager can address this kind of issue by having more and more clarity of the vision. The better he is able to see and plan and have a far-sightedness that what will be the implications of this current strategy in the times to come. So one of the managerial trait which the managers must resort to is having a vision of policy making and having a clarity to set goals and establish some smart objectives for their people to delegate. So it's not just only having a clarity and vision of policy making, but also understanding the implication of the decisions implication. So understanding the decision implication for a manager in the times to come is also very important, to understand how clear he is in his vision and setting objectives for the organization. The next characteristic of a VUCA framework is uncertainty. So the more uncertain the scenarios are, the more uncertain the events which are happening, in which you cannot predict the certainty of a decision making. That means a manager has to develop better of the understanding of the patterns of the changes of the events. We could say how the events are changing, the pattern of that change, because a logical sequence can only be sensitized only when somebody is able to recognize the way in which the frequency is changing. So it's only about how better a manager could be in his observation, how better a manager could be in his analysis. So these analytical abilities of a manager will help him to get a better understanding of the changes. So we could say that one cannot control the events which are happening and are uncertain. One cannot control the uncertainties of the unprecedented times, but a person can observe the patterns of the change and how frequently it is changing, and amid all of that he can devise better policies and plans for the organization. The third characteristic of a VUCA framework is complexity. Of course, when the things are rapidly changing, when there is uncertainty and one could not have the understanding of the events, that how the things are changing and how quickly the things are changing, that how much organizational goals are clear to an individual manager, how they are able to set the objectives and how they are going to delegate the task. The more and more clarity on these dimensions will help a manager to overcome the complexity. So the more clear the manager is going to be in terms of planning goals and in terms of delegating goals, a clarity in communicating those goals and targets to their team members is only going to help managers to overcome the complexity, or we could say reduce the complexity to some extent. The other aspect of the VUCA framework is ambiguity. Now, when there is uncertainty, when there is unpredictability, when there is so much of the complex thing because of the interrelationship of the different institutions, and the people are connected globally towards different structures within an organization, virtually, people are working, people are doing freelancing. So there are cross-functional relationship in an organization. So an organization has to function amid all of these kinds of changes and complexities, and because of these complexities and changes, the decision making is going to be ambiguous. To overcome any of these kind of ambiguity and certain kind of complexity, the organizational managers have to be agile in their approach. Now, agility is something that enables the people and organization to adapt quickly to the changing circumstances. So we could say the managers must adopt some flexibility in their approach, wherein they must not form certain kind of strict rules and rigid hierarchies and close gate policies in an organization. The managers must be more empathic, the managers must be more interactive with their team members, so that they can adapt to the situation by becoming aware of the situation, that how their people and how their stakeholders are acting and reacting in an uncertain time. So the more a manager is agile in his approach with interacting with people, the more he is dynamic in his approach in adapting himself to the changing conditions, and also communicating decision making policies with the stakeholders. It is going to help a manager to overcome the VUCA challenges. So we could say these managerial traits will help a manager to overcome the uncertainty of the environment and to address these kind of volatility and ambiguities by becoming more clear in the vision and goal setting. Moreover, having a dynamic approach towards adapting to the environment help the managers in contemporary times to overcome these pressures. Now let us reflect on certain of the managerial traits which are more relevant in a Bani framework. So we already have discussed in the previous videos that why there was a need for a Bani framework to emerge, because VUCA framework revolves around the external environmental changes, and it talks about that how an organization can survive in a unpredictable environment. While Bani framework focuses more on the changes which are happening in addition to the uncertain business environment, related to the human factors, related to the social, economic factors, the kind of unemployment rates which are rising, the issues of sustainability which is affecting the workplaces, the resources which are depleting, the climate change conditions, the environmental issues which are rising day by day. So all of these are issues which are not just only related to a business firm environment, but it is also concerned with the human, social and non-social elements of the planet Earth. So the comprehensiveness of the Bani framework helps us to get an idea that this is also the new environmental condition and characteristics in which an organizations have to respond to. So in between all of these kind of situations, what managers can do and what kind of traits managers can develop to overcome the Bani framework challenges. We understand that brittleness is something that talks about the fragility, the way in which a decision or let us say a product or a service or a kind of a situation seems to be very, very strong, but it suddenly breaks down. So brittleness talks about the fragility of a situation, of an event or of any product or service, we could say. So there is nothing that we can depend upon. So brittleness focuses on the fragility of the situation or an event, and based on these kind of conditions in an environmental situations, the more and more organizations have to resort to the resilience and the purpose driven approaches. So to address the brittleness concerns in the Bani framework requires organizations and the managerial traits to be more resilient in their approaches. The purpose of organization has to be driven by some cause. So having a cause related direction. Moreover, resilient approaches by the managers will help to overcome the challenges of the brittleness and the fragility of the situation, and despite of the failures, the organizations will bounce back to the situation and absorb the shock. So resilient and purpose driven approach is very important in the current scenario for the contemporary organizations. Moreover, of course, we understand that these kind of situations will lead to anxiety. The pandemic situation, we have seen that the people were more fearful, not fearful because they have faced the challenge, but because of the uncertainties that were happening around them. People were dying, people were facing some severe ill health conditions. Moreover, the jobs are getting affected. Many people lost their jobs. Many people suffered with the social and the economic differences. The people at the war front in the contemporary times, we understand, are struggling for their basic needs to be fulfilled. So these are some social environmental changes which are happening that may not be directly or indirectly related to the job, but the people at large at individual level are suffering with anxiety. In addition to, of course, the work related conditions, that the investment markets are getting crashed. Many a times people have invested their hard earned money and suddenly they get to know that the company is broke down, or some company was doing some fraudulent practices. So amid all these uncertainties, unethical practices, the organizations have to respond to in these scenarios by adopting certain compassion and certain optimism. So some positive virtues are very, very significant for organizations to resume and address the challenges of this Bani framework to overcome anxiety. Moreover, there is non-linearity factor which is there of the Bani framework. We understand that the relationship of cause and effect cannot be certainly addressed by the organizations amid these uncertainties. So to bring that cause and effect relationship in a close to positive direction, we could say, if certainty is not certain, then at least efforts have to be made in this direction by adapting to the situation more flexibly. So the organizations must adopt agility by not only revisiting their structures but also revising their policies which are traditional in nature. Moreover, the rules and regulations also have to be revisited by the organization so that they can adapt to the changing needs of time, which is not just only related to the stakeholder concerns in terms of their expectations and choices and the preferences which are changing very swiftly, but also to address the regulatory changes which are happening and changing frequently because of the dynamics which is changing between the nations. So all of these will affect the working of an organization, and an adaptable approach is very, very suitable And an adaptability is the required prerequisite for organizations to sustain this competition. Moreover, we understand that this non-linearity of the cause and effect will lead to incomprehensibility. Of course, the decision makers are confused. The employees are confused at how to survive and how to resume work during these uncertainties, when they are feeling fearful, when they are feeling blocked, their creativity is not functional. So amid these kind of challenges, what organizations can do is to ensure that they collaborate with each other, they interact with each other, they develop a good rapport of easy communication with each other, and that easy communication also has to be clear, also has to be purposeful, also has to be sensible in terms of making sense of the situation. So this incomprehensibility can be addressed by organizations by having more clarity in communication, in addition to transparency of accountability of the organizational policies and practices. Moreover, stakeholder relationship is very important for organizations in the current time. So all of these challenges which we learn from the Bani framework will help us to gain an idea that organizations and the management can adopt to different types of techniques and technologies in which they can make best use of the resources available to them by responding to the emerging needs of the organization. Moreover, at the same time, understanding the concerns of the stakeholders and incorporate those concerns and the changes that are happening in the current times to bring more certainty in the decision making. So the organizations cannot control the external environment, but they can adopt some flexible practices in which they can reduce this uncertainty to some extent and reduce the anxiety of the people working with them by promoting certain positive work culture and promoting certain good values so that the contemporary needs of the organizations are fulfilled. Thus, let us conclude what we have learned so far. So, the contemporary phase of organizations is transforming, it's changing. It has changed the way in which the managers used to address the traditional functions, how the organizations are going to hire people, how they are going to develop and engage them during the process of their job, and even then if they are leaving the organizations, how they are going to manage the relationships with them in addition to the other stakeholders. So the new age organizations are not only concerned with the direct stakeholders but also the indirect stakeholders. So the organizations today have to be purpose driven. They must have a sense of the environmental changes which are happening. So building trust, fostering good values and sustaining a relevant stakeholder culture is extremely critical for the current age organizations. So we understand that the contemporary age organizations are evolving, the need of the organizations are transforming amid all of the changes that we have learned from the VUCA framework and Bani framework, and the organizations must be responsive to the global needs related to sustainability and also to the changing expectation of the stakeholders. Moreover, to stay relevant over a period of time, the organizations must be purpose driven and they must understand and conscious about their implications of the decision making to the society at large. So these are certain references related to the additional readings and some books which have been recommended for the topics that we have covered so far. Thank you.